Welcome back to A-Star Science, part of our GCSE Must Know Biology series. Today we're going to look at the heart. It's an important topic that comes up in foundation papers, in higher tier, as well as in the separate science. Now, typically, when you learn about the heart, your teacher may put up a really complicated diagram like the one on the left, or even something a bit more complicated. But by the end of this video, I'm going to show you a method that makes understanding the way the heart is structured much more easier. The first one we need to understand is the term circulatory system. The heart and its blood vessels are part of the circulatory system. The circulatory system is the system by which blood is transported around the body. That's the circulatory system. You also hear this system being called the cardiovascular system. Vascular meaning veins and arteries, and cardio referring to the heart. Another key term we need to remember, because it will come up again, is the term coronary. Coronary also refers to anything to do with the heart. And finally, you also see the word pulmonary. And the word pulmonary relates to the lungs and things related to or involving the lungs. Now that we've looked at key terms, let's look at a method that will make it much easier for us to know what the parts of the heart are and what are their functions. For this, I'm going to use what I call my box model of the heart. It's really simple. It's going to simplify it much easier. So we're just going to draw a basic box there. And as you can see, the heart is separated into 4 parts. Remember that when you're looking down at a screen or looking up at a screen, your left-hand side is actually the right-hand side of the heart, and your right-hand side is actually the left-hand side of the heart. This is because you're looking down, for example, on a patient who's looking back up at you, and so the sides are the opposite. At the top of the heart, you see some structures that kind of look like an A. These are the atrium. So we have the right atrium, and we have the left atrium. Atrium, you can remember because they look like an A. At the bottom, you have a part of the heart which kind of looks like a V. These are called the ventricles. This is the right ventricle. This is the left ventricle. Now, coming into the heart from the right is a large blood vessel. So this is going to carry deoxygenated blood, which I'm putting in blue. That's the deoxygenated blood. And this part of the heart is called the vena cava or vena cava. Vena cava. And this deoxygenated blood enters the heart down to the ventricle, back up and out of the heart. It exits the heart through something called the pulmonary artery. Arteries go away from the heart. And by coincidence, this artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. This deoxygenated blood leaves the pulmonary artery, and as we said, pulmonary refers to the lungs. So they travel to the lung, the blood travels to the lungs and comes back into the heart. It's now oxygenated because it's been to the lungs and picked up oxygen from the fusion in the alveoli. So this blood vessel coming back in is called the pulmonary, for lungs, pulmonary vein. It's coming from the lungs carrying oxygenated blood. And we can put that down here. The red represents oxygenated blood. And then this leaves the body. This blood goes down and then leaves the heart, and travels to the rest of the body through probably the most important of the blood vessels from the heart, called the aorta. The heart is pumping and pumping this this oxygenated blood from the pulmonary vein through the heart and out and via the aorta. So this goes to the body, and the pulmonary vein is from the lungs. The vena cava is from the body, carrying deoxygenated blood. And the pulmonary artery is to the lungs. To the lungs. So this is a really easy way to remember the structure of the heart, because you do have to remember the parts of the heart for your exam and often have to label or pick them out from a multiple choice question, the different parts of the heart. You also need to remember which parts of the heart carry the oxygenated blood and which parts of the heart carry the deoxygenated blood. Now, there's something important that we can use this diagram on the left. And you can see that this part of the heart, which I'm drawing in purple, is much thicker in muscle tissue than this side. The right-hand side of the heart is less thick than the left-hand side, which is more thick with muscle. Remember, the heart is just muscle tissue. And this is because since the left-hand side of the heart is pumping blood to the rest of the body, it's under lots of pressure. And the muscle is much thicker on the left-hand side of the heart. Now that we've learned the different parts of the heart and how to use the box diagram method to easily identify them, let's finish off by understanding the term double pump system, which comes up in the GCSE content and will come up in your exam. What does it mean when it says that the heart is part of a double pump system? Well, we know that the heart pumps blood to the body, but it also pumps blood to the lungs. And this is why it's called a double pump system, because part of the pumping is to the body, which will go out as oxygenated blood through the aorta. And then part of the heart's job is to pump this deoxygenated blood to the lungs, which is what we call a double pump system. This is important to understand because they ask about this in your GCSE exams.